Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we find ourselves being a bit retro. We've got Kawasaki Z650RS. Now it looks old school, but it's got all the modern day technology, fuel injected motor, ABS, you name it. And it is really pretty. The green definitely does glitter in the sun. It's got a nice color to it that you don't see it all over the place. So in that regard, it does get the heads turning. It's a very honest motorbike. It's not trying to be something it's not. A very linear power curve from that parallel twin. It's punchy in the lower revs, but mid to high, if you open up, she goes. Sticking with the old school theme and retro theme, the bike's got a round headlight. Now back in the days that was the in thing, but although this is a round one, it's still got LED in it. So it's got the old nostalgia, but with modern technology in it. If you look at the clocks are the same. Round clocks with a little dash in the center. It tells you your range, it tells our fuel economy. At the moment it's telling us we're doing 22.4 kilometers to a liter. So that's really good. That's small bike territory. That's still commuter territory. Riding this bike, you do notice that it's got very long gearing. And at first you kind of ask yourself why, but once you start riding it and you realize that the power curve and everything, it actually makes really good sense. Changing between third and fourth. I found myself riding around in third quite often, and it was just kept running. About 5,500 RPM is where it's at its happiest. Then you roll open, it goes all the way up to 10,000 RPM. So there's still a lot of rev range left from cruising to once you smack it.
Guys, you were the test pilots for the new 650 from Kawasaki. I just wanted to share your thoughts kind of one at a time. Garth Taylor, you know, quite a well-known singer. I sing better than him, but he'll never admit to it. Garth, give us your thoughts on the styling quickly of the Kawasaki.
The styling?
Yeah.
Well, at first impression, it looks super cool. You know, it just looks like I've gone back into the 80s somewhere, you know, riding around. I still remember living in a place in Durban, near Malvern. And literally everybody had a bike like this. Everyone. It was the thing, you know. But the motor was a lot bigger and very silver. Just with the 4 cylinders going across it like that, it just looks. But if they wanted to capture that nostalgia, they've definitely done it.
That's cool. Carl, you're a slightly newer generation rider. I think you're about 20 years younger than Garth.
Hey, easy time.
As a young as a younger demographic, give me your opinion on the styling of the new bike.
I do like the styling. It does look the part. The nice thing is, as a youngster, you'll be able to ride this modern stroke retro, look the part, which is a big thing at the moment, is these modern classics and retro bikes and everything. So that green is beautiful. I don't know if you agree with me, but it's got like a glitter in it, and it really does look the part.
It's like a custom paint job, but it's not.
Yeah, it is a kickback to the 80s. All the 80s bikes were, the biggest thing for us was candy apple back then, and that was something really cool. And that's candy apple green. Fit and finish, how did it feel? What did the quality feel like?
Yeah, look, I think that they've built it well. Like every Japanese vehicle, they've paid attention to the way it's put together. Everything looks like it belongs. The stand looks a little bit thin. Like, that looks a little bit wonky,
finicky, yeah.
a bit finicky. But it's it's a light motorcycle, so I guess it doesn't need a fat stand. The handlebar, the tips are nice. The actual rubbers are nice. The clocks, the middle looks a little bit like cheapy, like a Casio watch or something.
Okay. And yourself, Carl? Fit and finish?
Yeah, it's typical Kawasaki. They do pay attention to detail. The fine lines on the tank aren't just painted and aren't just stuck on there and left there. It has been clear coated and everything like that. So yes, no rattles. Everything is tidy and firm. And you say the clocks look like a little bit of a Casio, but
just the digital.
Having
part.
said that, the round it
The round
doesn't.
is amazing,
the round clocks and the nice thing is it doesn't feel like it's going to be chrome that just peels off.
No,
It's got
I
a
love
proper
those analog
quality.
clocks, actually.
Analog. Yeah.
Cool. Now, something that's very important that everyone's going to ask, how comfortable is it, guys? If I buy this bike for use either as a commuter or for long distance?
Yeah, definitely a short hop to work and back. I wouldn't sit on the bike for too long. I feel the saddle, the seat rolls my hips forward a little bit. So I'm continuously trying to push my hips back. Otherwise, I'm like stuck on the tank. And in the front of it feels like it folds backwards, which for a guy, it's not really the coolest.
Yeah, I tend to agree slightly with Garth. Two different riding styles, which also makes a big difference. I'm a lot more aggressive, I think, than what you are, Garth.
Very aggressive.
So, but having said that, the bars for me hasn't been the most comfortable part. The bars we've adjusted them before, but they're also a bit narrow and they feel a bit pitched in.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, 100%.
He's very aggressive.
So you'd like to see wider bars on the bike?
I'd definitely say wider bars
Definitely,
with maybe a bit more of a straighter bend and everything like that.
And what you'll probably find if you were to do that as an owner, it would improve the ergonomics and the comfort of the bike straight away. Carl, I'm going to ask you this because I know you, the Oki, always fiddles around with every single conceivable electronic. Tell me about the electronics on the Z.
What electronics? No traction control. It's got ABS front and rear. No rider modes. But again, that's keeping up with the whole nostalgia of the bike. Back then, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So it's a very easy ride, and you don't feel like you're going to get out of trouble at all with that motor. So the electronics is there. Look, if you want to wheel it, you have to work really hard. It can wheel it, but again, it's not designed for that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So no rider modes or anything. It's a simple motorcycle, ABS traction control, and off you go.
The only difference is it'll tell you a range now on your fuel tank. So,
guys, tell us about the overall performance. You mentioned earlier, Garth, that the early bikes had a 4-cylinder engine. This one, as you know, comes with a fuel-injected parallel twin, which Kawasaki has fitted to lots of their bikes, like their Versa. So it's well proven in terms of reliability and that. But how does that translate to use on the road?
Honestly, I think that the motor has got too much power for the size of the bike. It feels like the motor's like I actually mentioned it while I was riding. That it felt like a little Subaru. It's got that little popcorn sound with a lot of power behind, a lot of grunt. I love that personally. It went up to the rev limiter very quickly.
So the guys who grew up with 4 cylinders are not going to be disappointed.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think the power kicks in sooner as well. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think the power definitely kicks in sooner than one of those old 4-cylinder bikes. Unless you ported it and did all that sort of fun stuff to the intakes, then it definitely. Those bikes. I promise you, the older ones, you ported those intakes. Wow, geez, they used
you
to
can make them run smoothbore carburetors, blah blah blah. But of course, then they became unreliable, which was the big problem.
Yeah, no, very very much. I felt it launched itself like first, second, third. Just every time you change gear, it sort of pulls the bike upwards. That's why I likened it to Subaru. It just felt like the bike was like. That's why I said a lot of power for such a small frame.
It was ready to go.
Fun to ride. That's what you want with any motorbike.
A lot of fun.
Carl, I'm going to ask you this question. Tell us a little bit about the general handling and the braking, and then of course that it's shod in Dunlop tires. How did you find all of that?
Overall, it's a nice planted ride. If you think about the suspension, at first you jump on, it feels a little bit soft, and then you start moving. The more the suspension works, the better it is. The more planted it becomes. Like I mentioned earlier, you can go through some sweeping corners, it's fine, but the tighter corners, you're going to have to, it feels weird. Because of your smaller bars, you actually do feel like it doesn't feel too happy.
You want to push it over.
You don't want to push it too far. But having said that, the overall ride is it's nailed it. It's got that relaxed retro feel, but with that parallel twin underneath you that screams from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
They've nailed the whole thing of, look, you got to look the part and you got a reliable motor on it.
And modern suspension and brakes. That makes a massive difference.
Very easy ride, I'd say. It's very easy.
Easy ride. So if you were moving up from, you passed the comment earlier, if you were moving up from, let's say, for example, a 300 Versus or something like that, this would be the next step up the food chain.
Yeah, if you're into the naked bike kind of thing, this definitely would be for me, because it's got this. It feels like I'm riding like something below 400.
Oh, excellent.
Really
It's got a small feel, but it's got a hearty punch.
A big heart, yeah.
Okay. No, that's lekker. Boys, closing thoughts, please. Garth?
Look, naked bikes used to be my thing a lot, and I still love the classic looks. I'd definitely park one of these in my garage for a Sunday ride out. It just looks so cool. I mean, that's like I would use it in a music video.
There we go, Kawasaki. There's an offer for you. Carl, give us your parting thoughts, please.
It is a nice bike, don't get me wrong. I really do like the looks of it. I enjoy riding it. And I think Foley would love it. He loved the 900 of this, so I think, unfortunately, he can barely run. But I do think he will enjoy it. He's got that relaxed kind of, plod along and enjoy his riding and that. I don't see myself personally buying one. It's a lot of money for the nostalgia you're getting.
Yeah, so you can check out the full story on ridefast.co.za. A really cool website, go check it out.